Hello and welcome to our 2024 version of HubSpot Overview. What we're going to do over the next few minutes is we're going to run through some of the high-level features of HubSpot so that when you do walk into a HubSpot planning session with us, you've got an idea of how the system works. So let's jump in and take a look. So where we're at the moment is our CRM contact screen. Now, just so you are aware, I'm using our demo system, which is a full enterprise version of HubSpot, so there may be less menus on your system, but I'm going to run through a lot of the generic features that all versions of HubSpot has. So as I said, there's a contact screen here. What we can do within HubSpot, so normally a contact will enter HubSpot, either you've scanned a business card, you've clicked on the create contact screen, someone's filled out a contact form on your website. There's multiple ways that a contact or a person can end up in your HubSpot system. And once they are in the system, I'm going to show you what goes on. So I'm going to search for myself. I know I've got a record in here, and this is what a record looks like when you are viewing one in HubSpot. So on the left hand side here we have a set of fields, and when we go through the workshop we'll actually go through and ask questions around what type of fields do you need to have in the system. So things like, do they have a contact category, like are they an employee, are they a service provider, do they have pets, do they like pets, those sorts of questions. But we can customize these fields on the left hand side. And if you do have a professional version of HubSpot, we've got these additional sections here as well. So as you can see, we've got a marketing section, a sales section, you might hold events, some very personal details. So we can completely configure this exactly how we want it to be. And then on the right hand side here we have the things that this contact is connected to. So they're currently connected to a company, they're connected to a few different sales deals, some support tickets. So we can set this up exactly how we need it based on how your business operates. So a couple of things to take note of is once a contact is in the system, if you add a contact, and see how I've got this domain here, ucidity.com.au, there's a setting in HubSpot, normally it's turned on, that it will automatically generate a contact for you. So that means you don't have to go off and go to a separate company screen and then create the company and then link them back. HubSpot does that for you, which I think is pretty nice as well. And in the middle of the section here, we've got everything that has happened with a contact. So I can filter this, and I'm just going to filter it based on a couple of different options, probably some notes and meetings. So as you can see, if I scroll down here, so this person's filled out the contact us form. I can see that they've been sent an email, they opened it, they didn't click it. No zeros, sorry, 0 clicks. They've been sent another email, they actually clicked that one, and there's quite a fair bit of information here. I think I might have had my my marketing contact status switched off, so it probably didn't actually get to me. But you can see here it builds a picture around this contact. Once it's connected to the website, it will show you all of the pages that they're visiting. So it shows a whole lot of history about a particular contact as well. So back to the contact screen, which has all of our contacts. So as I said before, we can create a new contact. One of the things we do go through the workshop is what fields you see when you are adding a contact. That's completely customizable. And then also what fields you have to fill in. So for a lot of businesses, it might be first name and email, but not necessarily anything else. Where some businesses like to have additional things like, hey, where did the lead come from? Where did the contact come from? So that's how we set up these as well. Now you can see we've got all these tabs up here as well. So what we can do is set up filters on these contacts. So if I click on the clients here, I've set up a certain filter to say, hey, these are our clients. Then we've got some leads. We've got some leads in the system as well. And based on what they have been engaging us for, we can then have some of those filters that I showed on the left-hand side, and then based on those fields on the left-hand side, and based on those fields, we can then filter those fields to have these tabs at the top here. So that's pretty handy as well. So the company screen, very similar. You can have tabs. You've got, when you click into a business, you can see all of the fields on the left-hand side, all the things that it's connected to, activities as well. So very similar to a contact screen. And then the last one is our deals. Now, so the deals is a little bit different. So what would typically happen is that you'd have some marketing running. As I said, they come in via, say, a contact form on your website. The website would talk directly to HubSpot, and then you've got a new contact in the system. Once the contact is in the system, typically they'd go through some sort of process. So there might be more nurturing from emails. So you might have a newsletter or some automated emails running or a social media campaign. But eventually they'll go into some sort of sales process where there's a qualification, and the qualification might be something like, do they have a budget? Do they have a need? Is their timeline this year or 10 years time? So that can differentiate, do we put them into our sales deals pipeline, or do we just sit them there as a lead until they show what we call a buying signal for us to our sales team to go out and reach out to them? So let's have a look at, say, the scenario that I'm going to jump back into my contacts for a second. A scenario that someone is ready to engage with one of our sales team. And I'm going to go back into my record. And on the right-hand side here, I'm going to create a new sales deal. So I'll click on Add. HubSpot has an automated naming convention. You can configure this. I'm going to put in new CRM, and we get to choose multiple pipelines if you do have multiple pipelines. The stage at which they're at, so they might be way at the start. They might be an existing customer, and they're like, hey, we just need to buy another widget. So they might go all the way to the end here, and you're essentially ready to send them an invoice. So it's quite flexible in what you can do when you add a new deal. You can associate an expected amount and associate with them with the company and the contacts that they're associated with as well. Once we hit create, it then goes into our sales deals pipeline. So I'm going to jump into, I'll go from here this time. So go into here. Once again, we see the familiar tabs. You can break up these exactly how you want. But as you can see, there's a whole set of sales deals in our sales pipeline. So as an example, I can filter this, and I can go, I just want to show the ones that were created today. And there's that single one that I just created. And the way this works is that we can, based on different interactions with the sales team, so it could be you make some phone calls, email follow-ups, send quotes, do demonstrations, however it is that your sales process works, and then they move through your sales process. So you can jump multiple steps at once. Like I said, it's an existing customer. They might be like, yeah, send me one more widget, push it up to here, and then the system takes over from there. Or you could go through a slower process where you have an appointment, you speak with the decision maker, you demonstrate your product, you send a quote. Are they qualified, not qualified? You can have pop-up screens that come up at certain stages of the pipeline as well. So your sales team puts in the right information that you expect to go in there. So I'm just going to set this one here, and then you can go all the way to the end and you can say, okay, yeah, we won this deal. Why did we win? They trust us. Who's looking after this project? So I'm going to dob in one of my team. And similarly, you can do a close lost. Okay, well, we had a quick chat, weren't quite a right fit, so push them into close lost. Maybe wrong fit for us. We can set up these fields for you. Or it might be that they're like, oh, the end of year break's coming up. I'm actually going away for 3 months, so let's just put this on hold and let's touch base again in, say, April. So you put it on hold, and then your team can just cycle through the on hold ones. You might have an expected date to call back, and that's how our sales pipeline works as well. So I'm going to move this all the way back to here. Something else that's quite important as well, I'll push it back to, say, here, qualified to buy. And once they are in the system, say your sales team is having some calls, emails, etc. You've seen them face to face at a networking event. What we can do is if we have a reminder to reach back out to them, we can have a task. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a task. Let's keep it really simple. Send quote. I'll do that on Monday, and I'll do that after our sales team meeting at 10 o'clock. And I want to have a reminder come through at 10 o'clock, so it's going to shoot me an email to say, hey John, you send this quote, and keen to get started, give a 10% discount. Okay, it's just some notes to follow up, so when I go back into that task, I've got some relevance as to what this is all about. But what that means is that now the task is in the system, I can now go in and go to my task section. And yes, I do have a lot in here because it's a demo system, but probably the upcoming is a good one. And I've got, say I'm planning my next week, and okay, I've got two tasks to run through. Pretty straightforward. I'll just I'll get them done Monday morning. Okay, so that's how the task system works as well. We can add other layers to the task system, so we can have different queues. One of my favorite ways of setting up a queue is to have them broken up into essentially like categories. So I've got one set of tasks for filling the pipeline, a set of tasks for moving deals through the pipeline, and then a set of tasks for closing the pipeline. Because what typically happens, as you can see, if I remove that, you can see that there's a whole bunch of tasks in here, and some people see that and they're just like, oh, it's too much, I'm just going to ignore tasks. And people start ignoring some pretty cool features of the system. Whereas if we've got a queue feature, it means that people can go in here, let's set up some meetings, things like that as well. So that's our task feature. So they're some of the main common areas of HubSpot. So I will mention there's this thing called lists. So a list is where we can generate, it's called segmentation, but essentially we can group a whole set of contacts together. Very similar to these tabs up here, except they're stored in a different area, and they can be used by other parts of the system. So as an example, you might have your clients, or you might have your newsletter subscribers as a list. So that means when you do actually send out your list from HubSpot, your newsletter from HubSpot, you send out your newsletter to that list, and that means that only the people on that list get that newsletter. So that's the way that we use lists. So other areas that we typically see are most have the ability to email. So you can send individual emails. So it might be, say, end of year, an invite to an end of year get together, or you might have a newsletter that goes out once a month. So that's our email section. For those on the professional version of HubSpot marketing, you can send automated emails as well. Other areas are the ads. So you can connect your paid ads to HubSpot, so you can see how your ads are performing, how many impressions you've had, how many clicks you've had, how much you've spent, how many deals came through, and how much revenue you generated. And then what this does is, say you spent $1,000, you generated $3,000 worth of business, so ROI is 300%. That's obviously excluding other costs, but that's your high-level ROI in your ads. And the other area is the forms, the forms section. So typically we would see newsletter sign-up form, contact us form. So these are different forms that we can use in the system as well. Some businesses use them for internal forms. So as an example, if you've won some business, sales has to hand over to your delivery team. Sometimes we see businesses where they'll fill out a form so that there is the knowledge handover to the delivery team as well. So there are main ones there. The other areas that we would normally focus on is, if I jump into this section here, our reporting section. So depending on, once again, the level of HubSpot you've got, you do have the ability to build out dashboards. And typically we'll have a sales dashboard. This is more the professional level where you've got goals, revenue tracking, forecasting, things like that. But some of the typical ones we'll see for a sales board, if I just scroll back down here again, it would be how much revenue is in each stage of your sales pipeline. And then the other ones we typically see is like how much has each of your sales team brought in, and then how much has come in from each marketing channel, and how many deals you've generated from your marketing channels, and then how many deals you've closed from your marketing channels. And then other ones, how much each person's brought in, those types of reports as well. The other one we would typically see is our marketing reports. So if I scroll down here really quickly, some of our paid ads, then our website, how many people viewed the website, how many have clicked, how many contacts we've created from the website, so some of those standard ones as well. And if you do have a professional version of HubSpot, then we can build up those reports a lot further as well with more capability. But as I said, this is a high level view of how HubSpot works. So that's it for now. So a quick wrap up. So what we went through is how to add contacts to the system, how to customize high level, how to customize the contact screen, what each contact looks like, how to connect them to a company or auto connect them to a company, how to generate a sales opportunity or a sales deal from them, what your sales pipeline looks like, how to move deals through a pipeline, how to connect tasks, and finally how to run what the reports look like as well. So what occurs from here is next step is that we'll actually run you through the the HubSpot planning workshop. That's usually a 2-hour workshop. We would have already sent through a list of typical items that we run through in that, so you can discuss them with your team. And all the best, and we will see you in the workshop. And just so you are aware, we do run training at the end, so you get a detailed view of how HubSpot works. So looking forward to one of our team seeing you. It might be myself in the planning workshop, and all the best in the meantime.